So guys, today I want to do a video on the Upair 2 FPV transmitter. So for those of you that probably have an Upair 2, you probably might have noticed by now, after a long good 20 to 25 minute flight and you land, you notice that the FPV module, the case that it's covering it anyway, heats up pretty bad. Now I'm not sure why they created it to have it concealed in the way they do. If you take the module off, the casting, the cover, the aluminum shield, you can see ventilation under the drone, but as we all know, heat rises, so basically the heat's going directly into the drone where the battery is located, which that alone already produces some heat. So the mod that I'm going to do is basically just cutting a hole on the inside of the I'm not even sure if it's 100% aluminum. It's probably aluminum and chromium mixed, but it's not aluminum, because believe me, when I was drilling it, it wasn't soft at all. It was pretty hard to drill. But what I'm getting at is this unit right here that you're seeing, that little silver square module, that casting. There's two holes in it already. One's basically for the LEDs, and the other one's for the frequency, to change the frequency on the transmitter. What you're going to need is a T8 star hex screwdriver, which is what I have here. This is going to go ahead and take the screws off. I'll demonstrate that for you here. And like I said, the reason why I'm doing this mod is because, this little circuit board, because it's encased in this cover that they made for it, I don't quite understand how they figure that this is going to help it cool down in any way. It's basically like sticking it in an oven. There's no circulation, there's no airflow, nothing. So I'm going to show you here in a minute. When I take this off, you'll see the vents underneath that I'm talking about. It's those right there that you see, those slits that are cut open. But again, like I said, heat rises, so when you're flying the drone, that the heat that's being created is going directly up into the battery, and the battery's so close to those vents that you're not going to get it to go anywhere other than back into where the FPV transmitter is, which is basically just baking it inside an oven. So once you take these screws off, just want to show you a close-up on this screw real quick. They're real tiny, so make sure you don't lose these. Plus I'm trying out this camera I got. Okay, cool. That looks good. But anyway, back to what we were doing here. Another thing I want to bring to your attention is when you take this cover off, I'm just going to call it the heating cover. You want to look at this, zoom in a little bit. Don't pull on it too hard, because you've got the antenna that connects to the board, and then they didn't give you any slack at all for the power cable and connector pins that are at the bottom there, that you can see the white head, that one right there. Don't pull it too hard, because you'll disconnect it. I mean, you can always reconnect it, but they give you very little slack. And the reason why I mention that is because you really don't have to take it any further away from the drone than what I've already demonstrated. What I used is just the same exact T8 screw that I was using, and I just pushed on the reset switch, or the transmitter frequency switch, and basically you can see it just pops right off. So as you can see, with these two little holes and it being encased in this cover, I really don't see how that FPV transmitter is going to cool down. So my intention is to cut a circle right around here, and I'll probably go as high as maybe 3/8 of a diameter, and then that'll get it to get better airflow and cool down a lot better than what it is by factory. So this board here, I want to show you. The chip that gets extremely hot is going to be the one to the right, which is the bigger one, and that's where a lot of the heat comes from. And as you can see, that hole there is basically for the frequency switch, so that's not getting any airflow, and the other one's for your LED. And so I just don't see how this thing was going to cool down. So with that being said, let me go ahead and start this process for you and show you what I did to keep it cooled down. This just might be something you might want to do if you happen to have this drone, and it'll help your the module, the PCB module, the transmitter, probably last a lot longer than it would if you were to keep it encased in this without doing this mod, because those things will wear out with heat, believe me. So this will probably just give you a little bit more life on the transmitter, and you'll get your money's worth. So what I used was a black erasable marker, and it's just to give me a starting point. And once I do this, the remaining, for the most part, the next couple of minutes of the video will just be me drilling. So what I'll do is, as each video is playing, I'll indicate what drill I used at what given point, and or I'm sorry, at each given point, and then I'll give you my final thoughts on this mod. So hope you enjoy this. Was I went ahead and got a 1/2-inch drill bit, and really I just used it to clean the edges of the drill that I had just made, which is the final one. And the reason why I did that is because it just leaves a better finish, in my opinion. It just makes it look a little bit more like factory. And the reason why I did this mod, guys, is because honestly I like this drone a lot. I like the price of it. I like the way it handles in flight. I I just want it to last as long as it can. So honestly, I know with the amount of heat that this FPV transmitter produces, it can definitely not give it a long life in the long run. So with this mod, I'm sure that a lot more airflow will flow through, keeping it cooler and letting some of that heat dissipate out from this hole right here. As you can see, you know, I'm pointing to it now, you can see the difference now. It looks a lot smoother, a lot more cleaner. So now at this point, we're going to go ahead and just clean all these metal shavings off my workbench, and we'll go ahead and just put everything back together the way it was. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate that for you guys here. For this drone was maybe painting it. I'm not 100% certain on that, but I would like to see it a much more brighter or darker color, because when I was doing that 100 km flight video, I could not see this thing. I mean, and the fact that it's white doesn't help any at all. So that might be a future mod that I do here, you know, pretty soon. Also, the controller, the FPV monitor, it didn't come with a cover or a shield like most of these FPV controllers have. I'll be making one here for y'all soon, show you how to make one, which would be very inexpensive, and it would really work well. It just lets you see the screen a lot better in direct sunlight. So look for that in the near future here. So yeah, we're gonna put the screws back on. In a minute here, I want to turn on the lights on the drone because I want you to see the inner workings of the FPV transmitter, and the reason for that is I want you to see whereabouts that chip's at. I'm going to try to point it out to you now, but it's kind of dark, you can't really see it. But if you look towards the 3 to maybe 5 o'clock position, you can see about a quarter of the chip. The one that I say the one I was telling you, it's about right there. The one I was telling you gets extremely hot. This is going to help it cool down, in my opinion. I'm pretty damn sure about that. I mean, it's just common sense. Like I said, it was like having it in an oven before. There was no way for it to cool down. Now, at least it has the opportunity to dissipate some of that heat, which in turn will not harm the FPV transmitter module. You know, because like I said, heat will cause it to, you know, to end up getting damaged. I'm going to power it on for you now because I want to show you what it looks like on the inside of the FPV transmitter. So you can kind of already see the chip already, but you know, you've got your status LED on the bottom, you know, 7 o'clock position, and then you've got your transmitter switch on the about the 5 o'clock position. But then if you look directly into the drill I just made, you can see where it's near perfect as far as getting the chip to dissipate some of that heat out of that hole. You know, if some of you feel a little uncomfortable leaving it exposed like that, you can even use a mesh filter there just to keep any obstacle, you know, any debris or whatever falling in there. But I don't really think that's necessary. Well guys, that's going to end my video. As always, I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. Like I said, I've got some more mods coming up here soon. Just bear with me. I'm kind of got a busy life, so I'll try to do these videos more often if I can. And for those of you that have this drone, maybe you'll find this beneficial. As always, I appreciate your watching. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one.